Hi, it's back to school. Tomorrow is back to school day, and normally I post a funny video or a silly picture, but I can't. Guys, my kids just told me, just this evening, they told me they would appreciate us not walking them in this year. I am grieving. So instead, I am making a video for teachers. So this is for my teacher friends. This is for the ones of you who started a couple of weeks ago, and you've looked over the scope of your class and you've been like, oh, this is not going to be easy. And it's for those of you who are starting tomorrow. I have a word I want to share with you today. And I'm just going to tell you, I don't know why you'd want to do this. There are other jobs, man. There are other jobs. You should really consider for your stress levels doing something different. I would rather be Kanye West's personal assistant. And you know that's going to be a crappy job than to be a school teacher. I don't know how you do it, but you do it and you do it well. Now, there is a passage of scripture in Ecclesiastes 3. It's one of my favorites. There is a time for everything. And I want to read it to you super quick. Let's just touch on it really quick. This is what it says. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, and a time to plant, and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, but then a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and then to gather them, and a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. There's a time to search and a time to give up and a time to keep and a time to throw away and a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate. There's even a time for war and a time for peace. Now, why did I read you that? I read you that because several years ago, I started speaking to school teachers. I love to speak to school teachers. And I started speaking to them, and I took Ecclesiastes 3 and I rewrote it for the school teacher. So if the great men of the Bible had not had their pen that day and a school teacher had stopped by and written Ecclesiastes 3, I think it would have sounded a little something like this. There is a time for every teacher or school staff member, and a season from August to May when they could really use a good massage or a beach vacation. A time to start school and a time to pray to God that it ends quickly. A time to hang apples or the letter A on your wall, and a time to rip them down and set them on fire. A time to stare off into space while you imagine yourself drop kicking a kid on a playground. And then a time to hold that same child when he cries. A time to come alongside and discipline, reprimand, change their color, make them clip down. But then also a time to hold their hand, hug their neck, and encourage them to try it one more time. A time to cry when they cry and giggle when they giggle. But a time to listen when they have their first broken heart. And a time to shout for joy when that math problem finally clicks. A time to say goodbye to a class that stole your heart. And a time to say hello to a new group of kids who are just waiting to steal it back. A time to hold them close and a time to let them try it on their own. A time to look for that dadgum lunchbox or backpack or one random shoe, and then a time to send a letter home to their mama that says, I tried. It's in God's hands now. A time to hang up their art and a time to take it down in order to make room for newer things, harder things. A time to tear gum out of hair and a time to put Band-Aids on scrapes. A time to come in close for their secrets. And a time to remind them that you know it's hard, but that even if no one else does, you believe in them. A time to appreciate the parents who care and call and show concern. And a time to stand up for the underdogs and perhaps even the unloved. A time to fight with them and a time to fight for them. I don't know why you do what you do, but I appreciate so much your ability and your heart for doing it. Let me tell you something. If a child does not feel love at home, you can bet God's going to make sure they're loved all day long. If they don't feel safe at home, God's going to make sure they feel safe with you. Thank you for all you do. From this mama, I love you.